Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you will shake your spirit. It will challenge everything you thought you knew about your current struggles. But if you're listening right now, know this, it is not a coincidence. God has drawn you here. He sees your prayers, your battles, your silent tears, and now, He is speaking directly to you. You are standing at the edge of something life-altering. Everything you've endured has led to this moment. But before the promise is fulfilled, before the breakthrough is released, there is one final step, a test. Does it feel like you're being stretched to your limit? Like the very thing you've been praying for is slipping further away instead of coming closer? That's not a setback. It's a divine setup. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit. It looked like his dreams were over. But what he couldn't see in those dark moments was that God was positioning him for elevation, Genesis 50 verse 20. And now, He's doing the same for you. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to press in. The enemy wants you to believe that your struggles mean God has forgotten you. But hear me, your struggles are proof that your blessing is near. The moment before dawn is always the darkest, and you are about to step into the light. Isaiah 60 verse 22 says, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen." You don't have to force the doors open. You just have to pass this final test. Let me ask you, will you hold on? Will you trust that God is not only still in control but is about to do something beyond your imagination? If you believe it, comment, "I am ready" right now. Say it with faith. Let every force of darkness know that you are not giving up before your breakthrough. And as you take this step of faith, know this, God is watching. The next move is yours. Take a deep breath. You are not here by accident. Something inside you knows that what you've been waiting for, praying for, is just on the other side of this moment. You can feel it. The shift, the change, the breakthrough, it's so close that your spirit is already reaching for it. But there's something you need to understand, this is the moment when the enemy fights the hardest, because he knows what's coming next. Think back over your life, the struggles you've endured, the losses you've survived, the betrayals you never saw coming. You have walked through fire and yet, here you are. Still standing. Still believing. Still pressing forward, even when everything in you felt like giving up. That's why you're different. That's why you're chosen. But now, right when you are on the very edge of your breakthrough, a final test is appearing. A storm, a loss, a setback, a moment that shakes you to your core. Why? Because before God opens a new level of blessings, He refines you through the fire one last time. Do you remember Joseph's story? God had given him a dream, a promise of elevation, but before he could step into it, he was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, and sold into slavery. He was falsely accused, locked in prison, and forgotten. It would have been so easy for him to give up. But he held on. He refused to let circumstances define his faith. And when the time was right, God elevated him from the prison to the palace in a single day, Genesis 41 verse 14. What if your breakthrough is just one test away? Right now, you might feel like your faith is being stretched to the breaking point. You might be asking, God, why is it so hard? Why does it feel like everything is coming against me right when I thought things were getting better? But let me tell you, this is not a sign that you're failing. This is proof that you are stepping into something greater than you can imagine. God sees you. He knows the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the times you felt overlooked, the moments you almost walked away because the weight was too heavy. But He has never left you. Isaiah 43 verse 2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned, the flames will not set you ablaze." This is your test of trust. Not trust when things are easy, but trust when everything seems uncertain. Right now, take a moment and declare it. I trust God completely. Comment those words below. Say them out loud. Let them sink into your spirit. Because when you pass this final test, everything will change. God is setting the stage. The doors He is about to open are not small. They are not ordinary. They are beyond anything you have ever dreamed of. But He needs to know, will you trust Him even when the storm is raging? The choice is yours. Hold on, because your breakthrough is already in motion. Will you stand in faith until the promise unfolds? Have you ever felt like the moment you get close to a breakthrough, something suddenly goes wrong? Maybe it's a financial crisis that seems to hit out of nowhere, a job loss, a betrayal, an unexpected loss of a loved one. Maybe you've been working hard, staying faithful, but now, just as you were about to see progress, everything feels like it's falling apart. Let me tell you something, this is not a punishment. This is a test. Look at Job. He was a man of great faith, but before he received double for his trouble, he lost everything. His wealth, his children, his health, all gone in an instant. His friends told him to curse God. His wife told him to give up. But Job refused. Even when he didn't understand, he held on to his faith. And because he did, God restored him beyond what he had lost. Right now, you are in that moment. This is your Job moment. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him. James 1 verse 12. Do you hear that? The test you are in right now is proof that you are about to receive something greater than you've ever imagined. But here's the key, faith is not about believing when things are easy. Faith is about holding on when everything is shaking. Anyone can praise God when life is good, but will you still trust Him when life gets hard? Think about Abraham. God promised him a son, a legacy, a nation. But before that promise could come to pass, God tested him. He asked Abraham to sacrifice his son, Isaac. It made no sense. Why would God ask him to lay down the very thing he had promised? But Abraham obeyed. And at the last moment, God provided a ram, proving that the test was never about Isaac, it was about Abraham's faith. What if what you are facing right now is your test? If you can hold on just a little longer, if you can say, God, I don't understand, but I trust you, then you are unlocking something powerful. Let's make it personal. What is your storm right now? Drop a comment below and declare, I trust you, Lord, even in the storm. This moment is a crossroad. Will you break down, or will you break through? The enemy wants you to give up now because he knows what's coming. Don't let him win. Stay firm in faith, because the moment you pass this test, God is about to do something supernatural in your life. Hold on, your breakthrough is already in motion. Will you trust God through this last test? God has seen your faithfulness, and your reward is near. Have you ever cried out to Him, asking, do you see me? Do you hear me? Have you forgotten me? If so, hear this today, God has seen every tear, every sacrifice, and every moment you held on when everything inside you was telling you to give up. Psalm 56 verse 8 reminds us, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Not a single tear has gone unnoticed, not a single prayer has been ignored. Even in the moments when heaven seemed silent, God was watching, working, and orchestrating. The enemy wanted you to believe you were alone, but you never were. God was shaping you, preparing you, and refining you, because what He is about to release in your life requires a level of faith that only trials could produce. Your journey has not been in vain. Think about Joseph. Betrayed, abandoned, enslaved, falsely accused, and imprisoned for years, imagine the nights he lay in that dark cell, wondering, God, where are you? Why did you give me a dream if it was only going to lead me here? Does that sound familiar? Have you ever questioned why God allowed so much pain if He truly had a plan for you? Yet, what Joseph didn't know was that his prison was his preparation. In one moment, God took him from the pit to the palace. In one day, everything changed. Romans 8 verse 28 tells us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Joseph's pain positioned him for promotion. Could it be that your trials are doing the same for you? Right now, you are on the edge of something big. You can't see it yet, but heaven is shifting things in your favor. The job loss, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the financial struggles, and the nights you cried yourself to sleep, all of it is about to make sense. God is preparing to lift you up. He doesn't just restore, he elevates. When he lifts you, it will not be quiet. The very people who doubted you, mocked you, and dismissed you will see the undeniable hand of God moving in your life. Think of Hannah. She was ridiculed for years because of her barrenness. Peninnah laughed at her. Even Eli thought she was drunk when she prayed in desperation. But when God finally answered, he didn't just give her a child, he gave her Samuel, one of the greatest prophets in history. Your blessing is not going to be ordinary. It will be something so profound that those who questioned you will have to acknowledge the power of your God. James 4 verse 10 assures us, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up in due time." Your due time is coming. The lifting is near. The season of waiting is coming to an end. The delay is over. Can you feel it? Hold on, this is your defining moment. God is asking you one thing: can you hold on just a little longer? This is not the time to break. This is not the time to walk away. This is the moment where your faith will be tested the most because you are the closest you have ever been. The enemy knows what's coming. That's why the attacks have been relentless. That's why you felt like giving up more in this season than ever before. But let me tell you this, if Satan is fighting this hard, it means your breakthrough must be near. If you receive this word, declare in the comments, "I trust you, Lord. My breakthrough is coming." Let this be your testimony. God is not just delivering you, he is making an example out of you. Those who doubted your faith will soon witness his favor. Those who mocked your obedience will see your overflow. Stay in position. Keep believing. Because your reward is not just coming, it is here. This is the defining moment. The moment that will separate those who truly trust in God from those who only believe when things are easy. You have come too far, endured too much, and fought too hard to turn back now. The final test is here, and how you respond will determine what comes next. Will you hold on, even when everything inside you tells you to let go? Will you trust in God's promise, even when the storm is at its fiercest? The enemy wants you to believe that this test is your breaking point, but what if I told you it's actually your breakthrough point? Every tear you have cried, every hardship you have endured, every silent battle you have fought, none of it has been in vain. Psalm 126 verse 5 reminds us, "Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy." Your suffering has not gone unnoticed. Heaven has recorded every moment of pain, and now, God is about to turn your mourning into dancing. But before that can happen, he is watching to see, will you stay faithful in this final moment of testing? Think about Job. He lost everything, his wealth, his health, even his children. His own wife told him to curse God and die. His friends accused him of sin. Yet, even in his agony, Job held on. He refused to walk away from his faith. And what happened? Job 42 verse 10 tells us, "The Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before." Twice as much. Double for his trouble. Could it be that your current suffering is setting you up for a double portion blessing? Could it be that God is allowing this last trial because he is about to restore you beyond what you ever imagined? Do not give up now. The enemy wants you to think that God has abandoned you, that your prayers have gone unheard, that your dreams are dead. But listen to me, the darkest hour is just before dawn. When Jesus was on the cross, suffering beyond comprehension, it looked like the end. It seemed like the enemy had won. But 3 days later, everything changed. The resurrection proved that what looked like defeat was actually victory in disguise. This is where you must make a choice. Will you let the pain define you, or will you let God refine you? Will you surrender to fear, or will you stand firm in faith? God is saying to you right now, hold on, my child. Your blessing is closer than you think. Galatians 6 verse 9 urges us, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. You are at the edge of that harvest. The final step is often the hardest, but it is also the most rewarding. If this message is speaking to you, if you know deep in your spirit that this is your confirmation, declare it in the comments, I will not give up. My breakthrough is coming. Speak it into existence. Make it real. Your faith is not just being tested, it is being perfected. Hebrews 10 verse 36 says, you need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. This is your moment. Stand firm. Hold the line. Your breakthrough is not just coming, it is here. Your breakthrough is not just coming, it is about to unfold before your very eyes. And when God blesses, He does not do it halfway. He is not a God of limitations, but of abundance. He is not a God of just enough, but of overflow. What He is preparing for you is greater than anything you have dared to imagine. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3 verse 20. You have endured the trial, you have stayed faithful in the test, and now, get ready, because the blessing is about to pour into every area of your life. Financially, the chains of lack are breaking. You will not just survive, you will thrive. The debts that have weighed you down, the constant financial battles, the feeling of always being behind, God is about to turn it around. Deuteronomy 28 verse 12 declares, the Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations but will borrow from none. You are stepping into a season where what once felt impossible, financial freedom, stability, and even abundance, will become your reality. Physically, healing is coming. If you have been battling sickness, dealing with chronic pain, or carrying the weight of a diagnosis that seems unchangeable, know this, God is still the great physician. Just as He healed the blind, the lame, and the sick in the days of Jesus, He is still healing today. But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord. Jeremiah 30 verse 17. Your struggle has not gone unnoticed. The sleepless nights, the prayers whispered through tears, the moments of exhaustion where you wondered if healing would ever come, God has seen it all. And now, the time of restoration is near. Spiritually, you are stepping into a new level of faith, a closeness with God that you have never experienced before. You are not just coming out of this test unchanged, you are coming out stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to God's purpose for your life. The trials were not meant to break you, they were meant to build you. Just as Joseph went from the pit to the palace, from betrayal to divine promotion, you are about to witness how God turns your suffering into glory. Romans 8 verse 18 reminds us, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. The pain you endured was never wasted. It was preparing you for the extraordinary favor that is about to be revealed. And here's what will be undeniable, those who doubted you, who laughed at your faith, who thought your prayers were useless, will be forced to acknowledge the hand of God on your life. When they see the transformation, when they witness the shift, when they realize that the very things they said would never happen are now your reality, they will have no choice but to recognize His glory. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Psalm 23 verse 5. This is not about proving them wrong, this is about proving that God is always faithful to those who trust Him. So, I ask you, do you believe this word is for you? Do you feel it in your spirit that this is not just another message, but a confirmation of what God has been speaking to you? If so, declare it in the comments, "I receive my breakthrough in Jesus' name." Your words have power. Speak it out, claim it, step into it. God is about to show up in your life in a way that will leave you speechless. Do not doubt, do not waver, because the promise is closer than you think. Stay with me, because what comes next is even greater. Your story is about to shift. You are standing at the threshold of something extraordinary, something that will redefine your life, your faith, and your purpose. This is not the moment to shrink back, not the time to waver in doubt. The finish line is right in front of you. Can you see it? Can you feel it? God is not asking you to figure it all out, He is asking you to trust Him one more time, to hold on just a little longer. You have come too far to turn back now. Every tear, every prayer, every sacrifice has brought you to this very moment. The enemy wants you to believe that the storm you're facing is a sign that things are falling apart, but in reality, it's proof that your breakthrough is imminent. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians 6 verse 9. This is your season of reaping. This is your time. But here's the truth, God will not force the blessing upon you. You have a role to play. You must declare it, believe it, and walk in faith even before you see it happen. Just as Joshua and the Israelites had to march around Jericho before the walls fell, you too must take action in faith. Speak it out, "My breakthrough is here. My blessing is coming. God is making a way for me." Say it out loud, type it in the comments, let your spirit align with God's promise. There is power in your words. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Proverbs 18 verse 21. Your breakthrough is not waiting on God, God is waiting on you to step forward in faith. Now, I want to challenge you, what has this message spoken to your heart? What part of your life is being tested right now? Drop a comment below and let us stand in faith with you. You are not alone in this journey, this is a community, a family of believers standing together. If this message has resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Someone else needs to hear this. Think of that friend, that family member who is struggling, who is losing hope. Share this video with them and let them know, God is not done yet. Your obedience in sharing could be the exact encouragement they need today. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss these divine messages of encouragement. Every video, every word is designed to equip you, to strengthen you, and to remind you of the mighty God you serve. The best is yet to come. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human mind has conceived the things God has prepared for those who love Him. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9. What is coming is greater than what you have lost. The doors that are about to open will make sense of every closed door in the past. Stay the course. Hold on to faith. Your breakthrough is not a possibility, it is a certainty. Are you ready? Declare it now, step into it, and watch what God is about to do.